and welcome to the What to Read Next podcast. In this podcast, your host, Gloria Me, will invite a bookish guest to share their favorite book recommendation. If you share a passion for books and always looking for your next read, then join us. Hi, Spencer. Welcome to What to Read Next podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
Oh, man. A lot of nothing and a lot of everything. I feel like this year has gone by in a blur. And so I have been trying to lose myself in as many books as possible to maintain my sanity. Really just trying to dive into any story that I could get my hands on, especially since I'm coming off of the heels of a reading slump. I feel as if I have been reading everything in sight just because I'm like, yes, give me all the books. I need a healthy dose of fantasy and fiction right now.
I love this. Yeah, I think it's like it comes and goes from waves. Like I'm going through the wave of a lot of reading, but there'll be months. I think I had a couple months. Like October was a month of a lot of anxiety, and the reading went down because I was too anxious to pick a book. And now I'm like, well, okay, we're at the home, so I might as well just read and read and read.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly how it is. It ebbs and flows.
Yeah. So first things first, we're going to talk about cozy mysteries. So what are some of your favorite series? Which is not going to be surprising if you watch your channel, but tell us a little bit about cozy mysteries.
Yeah. So it's so hard for me to whittle down because there's so many that I love, but I don't want to be taking up the entire time just trying to talk about my favorites. So just for the sake of paring it down, I would have to say I love the Bibliophile Mysteries by Kate Carlisle. That is a bookish themed cozy mystery. I love not even just cozy mysteries about books, but just books in general that feature bookish themes. And by that, I mean like either it's set at a bookstore or the main character is like a librarian or an author, just anything dealing with books. And so the Bibliophile Mysteries, obviously it's a cozy, but our main heroine is actually a book restorer, which I think is a really fun take, something beyond just, your average librarian. And so her job kind of takes her to different places to find old books. And also, in addition to that, you kind of get a lot of fun little facts and tidbits about the book restoring process, which I think is really interesting. So that's definitely one of my tops. Another one that I'll have to say that I actually just got turned on to this year is Ellie Alexander's Bake Shop Mystery Series. Oh my goodness. I swear I absolutely adore Ellie Alexander. She's one of the few authors on Instagram and social media who I follow just because she's got such a great personality and she's really interactive with her fans, which is something that I really appreciate. And as for her cozy mystery, she's actually has two, but the Bake Shop series is my favorite because of the setting and what it's about. So, obviously from the title of the series, it is a kind of foodie themed where we have our main character who owns her own bakery. I believe it's set in the Pacific Northwest. And so what we get is a lot of wonderful descriptions set in Oregon, which is where the story takes place. And then in addition to that, we get obviously all of the yummy, delicious descriptions about every, coffee she makes, every pastry she comes up with, and she's constantly trying something new. And I'm just like, I cannot be without any kind of snack when I read her books because it definitely makes me hungry because the descriptions are just so good.
I love this. And so there's also cozy mysteries for romance readers, so maybe they'll have some romance scenes around it, or like there's a plot with that. Can you share a few cozy mysteries that are good for romance readers who may want to bring this to their cozy season?
Yeah, definitely. And it's really interesting because I did a video actually a few months ago, kind of highlighting cozy mysteries that are good for romance readers because depending, I guess, on the type of romance you read, there's actually a lot of overlap. And I find that romance readers tend to enjoy a lot of cozy mysteries just because of a lot of the premises and just like that overall warm and fuzzy feeling that you get reading both genres. So the first like the first recommendation that I want to give is a book called To Kill a Mockingjay by Harper Kincaid. I actually had Harper on my channel. Again, this was a couple of months back, and since then we've actually become really good friends. She's hilarious. She's a brilliant writer, but this is the first book in her series, and coincidentally, it is about it's a bookish cozy. However, it's completely different in tone from the bibliophile mysteries because obviously this has a larger romance element. And fun fact, Harper actually, before writing this cozy mystery, she was a romance author. So she's able to kind of seamlessly blend romance into a cozy mystery, which is something that I really appreciate because I know I have read cozies before where the romance was more of an afterthought. Now, I'm totally fine with cozies having, romances that take a back seat, but you still want them handled well. And Harper did an excellent job in this story. I'm not going to obviously give anything away, but let's just say that there is a heavy romance plot in the first book to where you want to kind of see how things go. You're not only interested in the mystery, but you're also interested in the romance as well. So that's definitely my number one top pick, especially because it's just an overall well-written cozy. And as for another example, this is actually a bit of an older series, but it's the Aurora Tea Garden series by Charlaine Harris. Now, if this series sounds familiar, that is because they adapted it to the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel, and there have been quite a few movie installments for this book series, but this one has another romance element that I really appreciate. It's different from the Harper Kincaid one, so it's not as if you would be getting the same premise for both stories, but it deals with a romance in its own way. It's not as overt, I would say, but at the same time, it's handled really well. And in fact, if you read the story, or excuse me, if you read the series for more than just a book or two, you can see how the romance progresses. Again, I don't want to give anything away, but it's definitely something that I think would interest romance readers if they were to pick either of those cozies up.
I love this. I am buying them right now, so I'm excited. So, which authors are your auto buy? Which author do you think we should check their backlist?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I've actually got like, I would say two types of lists for this question because there are cozy mystery authors that I automatically recommend just because I know that the series are very entertaining and just an overall win for either new or old cozy mystery lovers. And then there's just like my personal favorites. Now, obviously, there is some overlap, but if we're going to kind of go down the list, one of my all-time favorite authors that's auto buy is a cozy mystery author named Donna Andrews, and she writes the Meg Langslow Cozy Mystery series. It's a very long-standing series. I believe book 26 may have just come out, something in the 20s. There's quite a few of them. But one of the reasons, well, I love it for multiple reasons, but one of the reasons why I love this particular series is because of the family aspect. Um, the heroine in this one is a blacksmith, but really what the mysteries are about are just her dealing with her zany family. So if you like kind of familial aspects in your books, then I would definitely recommend her books. I know that the next book that's coming out, I already have my eye on it because obviously she's an auto buy. And another author who I love, of course, is Ellie Alexander. Her Bake Shop Mystery series hooked me immediately. So she has quickly risen to the top of my list and become one of my auto buy authors. And she actually has another series out called the Sloane Krause Mysteries. This deals with a completely different heroine, a completely different theme, and I think she actually just released the fourth book like this week or last week. So best believe I'm also going to pick that up because again, auto buy, duh. And my last recommendation, who is on my auto buy list, is Ellery Adams, and I love Ellery Adams. She writes quite a few cozy mysteries. She's very prolific, actually. But when it comes to my favorite series of hers, I would say it's the Book Retreat Mysteries. Again, because it deals with books. I love the entire inception about being a reader who loves reading about reading, if that at all makes any sense. But those three ladies are definitely my top three auto buy. Of course, there are a handful more, but I don't want to take up your entire podcast just like reading my entire Goodreads list.
I love this. And so, what are some of your 5-star reads for this year? Like one or two titles. So you were like, these are 5 stars.
Okay, so so it's very interesting because as much as I love cozy mysteries, I'm kind of a tough grader when it comes to that, just because I read a lot of them and I find a lot of them very entertaining. But when it comes to giving them that 5-star seal of approval, they really have to just kind of blow me out of the water. And so, surprisingly, as I was going through, I realized I didn't have that many 5 stars as much as I loved a lot of the books that I read this year. But I'm going to go back to Donna Andrews, which again, she writes the Meg Langlow series. I read book 17, if you can believe it. And the name of the book is called The Good, the Bad, and the Emus. And just a quick side note, one of the things that I love about this series and cozy mysteries in general are the punny titles. And the Meg Langlow series, every single book has a bird pun title. So that's like a little fun fact that I absolutely adore with this series. But anyway, this particular book was surprisingly emotional. Like I said, there is a strong family premise in each of the stories. And this one, for some reason, just stood out even more. I won't give anything away because in addition to the mystery, there's like another mystery that deals with family. But when everything was revealed, it turned out to be a very touching story. And because I wasn't expecting that, I definitely had to give it 5 stars because, cozy mysteries are meant to, be entertaining and fun. But sometimes, every now and again, there's one that comes along and really like packs a punch. And I definitely think that if it can do that, it deserves 5 stars. So that's one. But another 5 stars that I really liked, it's a book called A Dark and Stormy Murder, which is the first book in Julia Buckley's Writer's Apprentice series. And this one was very entertaining because I thought it was a good twist on kind of the bookish theme to cozy. As the title suggests, there is a main heroine who is essentially an apprentice or an assistant for this very famous author who is a recluse. And so, in addition to her trying to, do her job well, she's simultaneously trying to figure out a murder. And she believes that the guy next door that they are next to is involved, and hijinks ensue. But I thought it was very well written. It was very atmospheric, which is something that I'm always looking for with my cozy mysteries, whether it's something that's like fun and upbeat set up a beach, or if it's something dark and stormy night as it was in this particular series. So those I would say have to be like my top two, at least for now. I'm still holding out hope that I might be able to squeak by one more 5-star before the end of the year.
I love this. So tell us where we can find you online.
Yes, so you can find me online. I have a YouTube channel called Intentionally Bookish, and I'm also on Instagram by the same name, Intentionally Bookish. I love talking with people in the comments or through DMs just about books and just anything in general. So you'll notice in both my videos and my Instagram pics that I feature my dogs a lot just because I find them highly entertaining, as I'm sure most dog parents do. So I'm always available to chat books, talk about dogs, talk about anything and everything under the sun, just because I think it's just really fun to chat with people.
I love this. Thank you, Sansa, for all the cozy mystery recommendations.
Of course.
If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share with friends, subscribe, rate, and review the show. This is the easiest way to support this podcast. Once you connect with fellow romance readers and make new friends, get weekly book recommendations, attend monthly meetups, then join our Patreon community. You can join at whattoreadnextblog.com/Patreon. Romance lovers, check out Queen Bee Reads Etsy shop for cute and comfortable bookish apparel. The shop also features social justice apparel and fun items from some of your favorite TV shows like The Schitt's Creek and The Office. Use code WhatToRead10 to save. Visit whattoreadnextblog.com/QueenBeeReads. What to Read Next podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Discover new podcasts to love on frolic.media/podcast. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.